Presented by the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot. Proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. This is the final interleague game of the season for the Toronto Blue Jays. They're trying to win this series and go 6-4 on this 10-game road trip. David Price did his thing last night, 16-5 with the win last night for David Price. Blue Jays lineup, let's take a look right at the top of the order. This has been the igniter. The Georgia native is back home in Atlanta, and he's swinging a hot bat on this road trip. 13 for 68. He scored 8 runs. Ben Revere has been a real table setter, top of this order. And then how about Edwin Encarnacion? What a return he had last night. He's on base 5 times. He was 3 for 3 with a couple of walks in this season in interleague play. Edwin is hit 364, so he's all set to wrap up this year's interleague play tonight here in Atlanta. And they'll see a rookie, the right-hander Matt Wisler.
There is Matt Wisler, just celebrated a birthday 5 days ago, just turned 23 years old. This is his 16th start of the season. He faces the Blue Jays for the first time in his career. He's 5-7 with a .560 earned run average. That earned run average, third highest among rookies. He entered this season as Baseball America's #1 overall prospect in the Padres farm system. He came over here as part of that Craig Kimbrell trade, if you remember that, right before the season. They really like Wisler. He's got a good arm. He's got some good stuff. He's going to be around for a while.
He's a strike thrower, and with that, he's going to pitch his contact, so defense becomes important. Let's take a look at the defense for Atlanta. Last night, they kicked it around a little bit. They made a couple of errors. Nick Swisher is in left. Cameron Maben in center. The former Oriole, Nick Markakis, is in right. Hector Olivera gets his first start in the series. Andrelton Simmons committed 2 errors in the game last night. He is a Gold Glover at short. Chase Peterson starts at second. Freddie Freeman, their everyday first baseman. And the veteran A.J. Pierzynski, 38 years old, back behind the plate.
This is our
the youngster.
This is our first look at Hector Olivera over at third base. He's made 1 error this year. Came over from the Dodgers, where he was a big prospect, signed a big contract. He's part of a 13-player trade between 3 teams. Our first look at him at third base this series.
Olivera is 30 years old. He's from Cuba, and he signed a big contract with the Dodgers, as Pat mentioned. This is Ben Revere. He's had a great road trip. 2 for 4 last night. First pitch is outside, and we are underway. Revere grew up in Georgia, moved to Kentucky to finish his high school education. That sinking fastball is off the plate.
Blue Jays are going to have to lay off of that. That's one of his best pitches. Got a very good sinking fastball. It rates as a 60 on a scouting scale of 20 to 80, which is above average.
Now, let me ask you this. Why didn't they go 1 to 10?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been meaning to find that out from scouts.
20 to 80.
20 to 80.
How about 1 to 10?
50 is average. I guess, it's good, very good. Don't know where it came from, just reporting on it.
I've always thought that was interesting. We digress. 3-1 to Ben Revere. Blue Jays trying to wrap up this long road trip with a positive ending. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. Good start for the Blue Jays. Leadoff walk.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report for Matt Wisler. Again, just 23 years old. He's got a pretty good fastball. Sits around 93, 94 miles an hour, but he's got very good movement. Heavy sink down in that strike zone, lively movement. He also has a 4-seam. A slider he'll throw 22% of the time. A changeup that is improving and getting better, and an occasional curveball at times. Hitters have had their problems with that slider, trying to pick it up. He's basically fastball slider. That's what you're going to get from him. His slider is an above-average pitch also.
Whistler made his major league debut on the 19th of June, and it was an impressive outing against the Mets. So he's out of the stretch immediately. This is Josh Donaldson. Donaldson check swing foul at the plate. Josh did something unusual today.
He did not take batting practice out on the field. You and I have been around this ball club all season long, and it never fails. Josh Donaldson's going to be on the field taking batting practice every single day, except today.
And I don't blame him. It's been a long road trip, and he has played every inning, and he's a little worn down. So conserve a little energy. Fastball downstairs. Donaldson has put together an MVP caliber season, no doubt about that. 39 doubles, 2 triples, 38 homers, and he's driven in 119. Ben Revere is 5 for 5 in steals since he's joined the Blue Jays.
29 stolen bases overall on the season. He's only been caught 5 times.
He explained that dive back into the first base to you earlier in the season.
A lot of times you'll see those base runners dive to that back edge of the corner and they'll fully extend to it. He was saying that he'd been hitting that elbow and hitting that shoulder so many times he's afraid that he's going to hyperextend it, so he likes to jump back and bend that elbow, which makes a lot of sense.
Sure does. I've never heard anybody describe it that way, but it certainly makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you go in with a stiff arm and hit that base hard, and then maybe the guy tags you hard. You could dislocate your elbow, separate your shoulder, no telling.
But he seems to get back pretty easy.
1-2 to Donaldson. Bautista will be next. Boy, with 2 strikes, he just changes his whole approach, doesn't he? Cuts it down. I mean, this is an old-fashioned approach to me. Look for the fastball till you get 2 strikes, then protect the plate.
Yeah, it's almost like you sit on the fastball early and then be wary in the back of your mind of a breaking ball until you get the 2 strikes. Gorman Thomas used to say that to me. He said, look for the breaking ball and adjust to the fastball with 2 strikes. And I had no idea what he was talking about when I was a young player. Balk.
They call the balk. Gary Cederstrom, the second base umpire, called him for that move before he stepped to first, and that's the second balk the Braves have committed in this series.
Cost them a run earlier. Let's see, take a look at it one more time.
He didn't step with that left foot. He spun over that left foot, and that was the problem. You've got to step toward first, and he didn't step. He just spun over that front foot. So there's a man in scoring position now for Donaldson with nobody out.
Well, they need a strikeout, so you might see that slider right here. He's got a pretty good one.
There's a slider. It's in the dirt. Pierzynski saw something he didn't like. He immediately came out from behind the plate and had a quick message for his young pitcher. AJ's now 38 years old. What a career he's had. This is his 18th season. And you know what else? He's a .282 career hitter. He's had a heck of a career.
He's one of those guys, catchers, if you're hitting, you don't know what to expect because he's always thinking back there.
Well, there's a good fastball. 95. He went with the 4-seamer to strike out Donaldson.
Well, he's got a good one. Told you it's above average. He can throw a 4-seamer, and I think that's what this one is. Just reaching back for a little something extra. Throws it by Josh. He can also sink it like we saw against the left-handers. See Donaldson talking to himself after he swung through that last pitch.
Blue Jays scored 4 runs in the first in last night's game. 4 runs on 4 hits and an error committed by the Braves.
You know, a lot of times they will pass information, these hitters. First time that they're seeing him, you see him telling them that fastball's got some sink to it, a little run to it. He also has that 4-seamer that's pretty straight and a pretty decent slider.
Inside. Ball and a strike to Bautista. Like Donaldson, Bautista's had another big season. 28 doubles, 3 triples, 35 homers, and he's driven in 102. Pops this one up. It's playable. Behind first, Freddie Freeman is in foul territory. The first baseman makes the catch. Matt Whistler came up, made his debut on the 19th of June, and went 5-1 in his first 7 starts, but it's been a different story over his last 8.
Really struggled over his last 8, an ERA of 8.5. Opponents hitting .347 against him. He had a game against Washington where he threw just an inning and 2/3, gave up 7 earned runs. He also had a game at Chicago where he pitched just 2 2/3 and gave up 7 runs. To me, looking at his stats and some of the film on him, he's either really good or really bad. There's been no in between for him this season.
2 outs for Edwin Encarnacion. He goes after the first pitch and pops it over the Braves dugout. Edwin with that big night last night. You see him smelling that bat. You want to know what he's doing? He's smelling that burning wood. The friction of that ball going off that bat. Hitters love that. They know that they were close to really driving one. That was the point of conversation at the '99 All-Star game between the great Ted Williams, Barry Bonds, McGuire, and Tony Gwynn. They were all standing out around the mound talking about. Williams said, "Did you ever smell that burning wood?"
And to my surprise, some of them said they weren't real sure what he was talking about. But then, of course, the great ones were like, "Oh, yeah. And I know I'm right on the pitch when I start to smell that." It's usually a pitch that you foul straight back.
Line drive back to the screen. Yep. We mentioned Encarnacion in his great night last night. He had 3 singles, scored a pair of runs, and walked twice. He was on all 5 times he came to the plate. He certainly helps the depth of this lineup once he's back in there behind Donaldson and Bautista. That's a foul ball.
Well, that was a pitch to hit too right there. It was a hanging breaking ball from young Matt Whistler, and Edwin knows he missed a pitch to hit.
You mentioned that trade from San Diego. Craig Kimbrell and Justin Upton went to San Diego. In return, the Braves got Cameron Maben, Carlos Quentin, Jordan Parobeck, and Matt Whistler, plus a 41st pick overall in last June's draft. That's driven deep to right field. Markakis on the run at the track and runs it down. Encarnacion put a charge in it, but the former Gold Glover Nick Markakis runs it down on the warning track just before it hits up against the wall in right. Markakis saves a run for the Braves in the first. The lineup for Freddie Gonzalez and the Atlanta Braves. Nick Markakis, top of the order. Markakis in interleague play, .373, but that shouldn't surprise you. He spent 9 years with the Orioles in the American League, so he knows all the pitchers he faced during interleague play. He's got 4 doubles and 3 RBIs during the interleague session. A.J. Pierzynski in his 18th season still can swing it. Over his last 13 games, he's 17 for 49 with 3 doubles and 6 ribbies. The veteran Pierzynski's had a real good year here in Atlanta.
And he always seems to come up big against the Blue Jays for some reason, A.J. in his last 13. Not too shabby. This is Marco Estrada, who's getting ready for his 25th start of the season for the Blue Jays. .331 average, 12-8 record. You can see the hitters, they're hitting just .210 against Marco. That is the best in the American League. In fact, it's .192 average since the All-Star break is pretty good too. Great numbers all the way around. Last started against this team, the Braves, back in 2013, where he was a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. Last time out, just 5 innings at the Yankees, and they gave up 4 earned runs.
3 home runs to the Yankees in that outing. Nick Markakis takes the first pitch down for a ball. Markakis spent 9 seasons with the Orioles. Off speed pitch, he's out in front. Markakis was a first-round pick of the Orioles.
They got their work cut out for him against Markakis. He came up yesterday, had a couple of hits, but he was also robbed a couple of times. Could have had a 4-hit game. That would have improved on his average against the Blue Jays this year.
This is a fly ball to center. This is a big yard. No problem at all for Kevin Pillar. 1 fly ball out, and you get used to that with Marco Estrada. He gives up a lot of fly balls. In the outfield, Ben Revere, Kevin Pillar, and Jose Bautista. And Revere has really added to this defense. Josh Donaldson's at third. Ryan Goins and Cliff Pennington. They turned some double play last night. Edwin Encarnacion back at first, and Deanna Navarro has been the personal catcher for Estrada.
We had a shot there of Ryan Goins, and wherever they have put him this year, he has done well defensively. He's played in left field, shortstop, second base, third base. He's even gotten into a game in right field this year.
This is popped up on the infield. Encarnacion near the bag at first makes the catch, and Hector Olivera is out on the pump.
And you're right, he made some plays last night. Ryan Goins at shortstop. That has everybody talking today when we got to the ballpark. The one takeaway, the hit from Markakis, and then the heads-up play to finish off that double play that you were talking about with Pennington, the unusual 4-6-5 double play.
And that was in the 5th inning on a dropped pop-up, and they were able to turn it into a double play. Freddie Freeman with 2 outs. Blue Jays have been able to handle Freeman in this series. He was 0 for 2 last night with a sac fly and a walk. He's 0 for 6 in this series. That's a good changeup, isn't it? He has confidence in that pitch to throw at any time, but what has happened for him this year is Navarro has brought the other pitches into the mix equally, and I think that's why he's having a career season.
Especially the fastball. I think that has really complemented that changeup. DeHonor says, I'm going to use that fastball a little bit more. He also feels like he's got a pretty good curveball. And now you're starting to use that changeup a little bit more. That's why you've seen some great numbers from Marco this year.
And then you get that defensive swing on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Freddie Freeman is 26 years old. He just turned 26 on the 12th of September. He's in his 6th season. 2nd-round pick of the Braves in 2007. He's from Fountain Valley, California, in Orange County. 2-time All-Star. He is a young star here in Atlanta. The one thing Freeman did, I think, that served him very well, he had 1,600 minor league at-bats. He was a regular player, played regularly over his minor league tenure, and that's helped him very effectively. Drives this ball to left. Ben Revere's on the run. He's got plenty of room in left. Nice inning for Marco Estrada. 3 up, 3 down. We played an inning in Atlanta. No score.
Presented by the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot. Proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Lots of Canadians on hand here throughout the 3 games at Turner Field. It has been fall-like weather for sure. It couldn't be more comfortable here. Very little humidity, and it's been a very comfortable 3 days. And the Blue Jays certainly have great support, and that is a nice turnout. And good to see all those Canadian flags here in Georgia.
Be a lot more comfortable if they can win this series, I'll tell you that, for everybody involved. Fans, players, coaches, front office, everybody.
Started play tonight. The Blue Jays are 3 games ahead of the New York Yankees. The Yankees are off tonight. Yanner Navarro takes the first pitch outside. Goes after that high fastball. Janner's had a very good season serving as the backup to Russell Martin, and he's done a great job, as we mentioned, with Marco Estrada. He catch Mark Burley from time to time. But after having a career year last year, he has accepted his role very effectively.
He did a great job, or he has done a great job this year, catching Mark Burley early and Marco Estrada and coming up with some big hits. It's interesting what Matt Whistler is doing this inning. He started the game against Ben Revere in the windup and walked him on 4 pitches, maybe 5 pitches. Then when he was in the stretch and went through Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion, got him out. Now he's starting the 2nd inning.
In the stretch?
In the stretch. Very interesting.
Navarro hits it in front of Swisher. Boy, I don't know if he saw that ball. He certainly got a late break on it and just kind of pulled up and played on a hop. Leadoff single for Navarro.
Nick had some problems in yesterday's ball game on balls that were over his head and then into the gap, and not moving around very well in the outfield as that ball falls in for Navarro. Freddie Gonzalez said he wants to put Swisher out there. He's a veteran. He's been through the wars before, especially when you're playing the Blue Jays. I think you owe it to him to put your best team out there.
Yeah, I think that's part of it and why he's out there. He's 34 years old. This is his 12th season, but you're right. He's had problems with his knees, and he's not moving around as well as he did earlier in his career. This is Ryan Goins. Boy, has Goins filled in admirably for the loss of Devin Travis, and there's some Travis news out today. He is going to have exploratory surgery on that left shoulder. See what's the root of his problems, and that'll take place next Wednesday.
Sure makes a lot of sense. I think that's what it was pointing to all along, because Devin kept saying it's just not getting better. It's taking so much longer.
Ground ball. This could be 2. Peterson to Simmons, back to first. It is a double play. 4-6-3 double play. Anderson Simmons is involved in 114 double plays now. That's the most in the majors at shortstop. And he had a tough night last night. As we mentioned, he committed 2 errors. But boy, once you get it in his hands, he's got the great arm to really finish off those double plays.
Yeah, he made a long throw right there. Know if they were going to have a chance to get that double play, but his arm made up for a lot of the slowness of that play to develop.
Kevin Pillar 2 for 4 in last night's game. Pillar's had a terrific first full season in the majors. This is his 145th game. And he has been an everyday player. He has 529 at bats. And he's putting up decent numbers.
I think if the season started and we're in spring training and you said, okay, would you take 260, 265, double-digit home runs, and 50 to 60 RBIs from your center fielder. Would you take it and get the type of defense that you've had? Would you take it?
And 19 stolen bases. Yeah, you would take that. You'd sign up for that for next year.
Yes.
But you know he's going to get better. He's an intense competitor, and he loves to work on things and improve. Upstairs.
And is it funny? You and I were talking before the ball game today about Kevin, and when the team got together in Dunedin for the beginning of spring training, Kevin Pillar was the fourth outfielder. Isn't it funny how baseball changes?
Well, it is, and it's something that you have to do as an organization. Is you better know the people you have in your organization before you make judgments on them. And I think we've seen the same thing with Ryan Goins. They've both blossomed this season, and they have become very good players. They've certainly improved their position dramatically. Cliff Pennington with 2 outs. Pennington, the number 8 hitter. Pennington got a leadoff walk in the 4th and came around to score the 5th Blue Jay run. Picked up an RBI with a ground out in the 5th. Whistler's got a good arm.
Watched a couple of games on TV with him, and it was okay. Let me see this guy straight up, and you're right. He's got a very good arm, mid-90s. Tonight he has been hitting. I like the movement of his pitches. You'll see the inconsistencies, I think, because he's such a young player in terms of service and time as a professional, but once he harnesses that kind of stuff, he could be a pretty good pitcher.
He made that debut on the 19th of June against the Mets and went up against Jacob deGrom, and he won 2-1 in his major league debut. He pitched 8 innings, just 1 run, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 2. Now listen to this. He pitched 8 innings against the Mets and threw 88 pitches. That was his first big league start. And he actually went 5-1 through his first 7 starts, and then he ran into the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
They haven't treated him too well. Pennington hanging tough. This is an important spot when you're playing in these interleague games because you have the pitcher on deck and you want to get him to the plate and get his at bat out of the way. Marco Estrada is a former National Leaguer, so he knows what it is to swing the bat. Whistler was called for a balk in the first inning. He spun on that front foot, didn't pick it up, then stepped toward first. Gary Cederstrom, the second base umpire, got him. Pennington continues to hang tough against Whistler.
I might take a chance right here to steal a base. You know, if you get thrown out, then he can start the inning. Next inning, if he hits, then the pitcher can bunt. If he steals the base, then you got Pennington. He have one shot to try and drive him in.
There's a base hit for Pennington. Pillar is turning around second. He's headed for third, and he'll get there. Another good at bat for Cliff Pennington. A 2-out single. First and third, 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, it's important to keep your eye on the Kansas City Royals because the Blue Jays are trying to run them down for the best record in the American League, which would mean they would have home field advantage throughout the postseason. So you want to keep your eye on Kansas City. At start of play, the Blue Jays are 2 games back. This is Marco Estrada. Marco is a 148 career hitter. He can swing the bat a little bit. He's got 4 career doubles and 7 RBIs.
he was very sly when I asked him what kind of hitter he was. I said, Marco, can you hit? Well, you know, maybe. We'll see when I get a chance. He just wouldn't commit to tell me if he was good or average.
Well, he hits it on the ground to the second baseman. But Blue Jays will strand a pair. A couple of base hits, and we will go to the bottom of the second. No score.
Which is going on at the Rogers Center and wraps up tomorrow. It features the top high school ball players with college eligibility. Well, one of the top players in the tourney has already committed to a top university. Mississauga's Cooper Davis has signed on to go to Vanderbilt University next year, and it just so happens that David Price is an alum. And David Price, being a big fan of the school he went to, sent out a tweet congratulating young Cooper Davis yesterday on signing on and committing to go to Vanderbilt. But ball players always seem to remember where they went to school. We don't have fraternities in Canada per se, but I imagine for ball players and anyone that goes to college here in the U.S., it's something that they always cherish.
Absolutely. You take pride in your school, and when you hear about a youngster taking advantage of that opportunity, you want to congratulate and wish him well. David Price continues to go back to Vanderbilt and work out in the offseason with a number of his former teammates. Sonny Gray of the Oakland A's goes back there. Ryan Flaherty, the utility infielder for the Orioles, he too played at Vanderbilt. It's a good program. This is A.J. Pierzynski. One hopper right to Pennington. One pitch, one out in the bottom of the second. It's interesting how Pennington has really stepped in and picked up the slack for the loss of Troy Tulowitzki and Devin Travis. But again, we've got to tip our cap to Alex Anthopoulos for going out shopping around and finding a very good middle infielder, and especially the fact that he's a switch hitter just gives him more flexibility.
Well, he's a pro. I mean, you watch him play the game of baseball, and he does it the right things a lot. There's a lot of right things, correct way of playing the game. Little things that don't show up in the box score.
Just having good at bats and making strong throws on relays, just all those little things that translate into a winning effort.
Making good feeds on the double play, having tough at bats, even if it's a walk, you know, or a 10-pitch at bats, something like that. Throw to the right base. Just do all the things that are correct in helping your team win a ball game.
Estrada falls behind Nick Swisher 3-0. There's a strike. Marco Estrada, this is his 25th start of the season, and he loses Swisher to ball 4, 1 out walk. Marco Estrada has also set a career high in innings pitched coming into this game, and since the All-Star break, he's really been on a roll.
The earned run average at 303. That's the fifth best earned run average in the American League. Opponent's batting average of 192 among starters in the American League. Third best right there. The whip and the team record of 8-3 outstanding. He's thrown 65 in the third inning. He's only given up 44 hits since the All-Star break coming into tonight's ball game. Yeah, I'd have to say that Marco Estrada has been a very nice surprise for the Blue Jays this year.
This is Cameron Maybin, the center fielder. Maybin came over to the Braves in that deal with San Diego, and he's bounced around a little bit. He's been involved in some pretty interesting trades. He was involved in the Tiger trade with the Marlins that included Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis. He was the top prospect in the Tigers system at that time. He's been dealing with a scratched cornea. It's only been 2 games since he's been back in the lineup, last night and tonight, after scratching his left cornea.
He had a tough night last night against David Price. David was painting on him and actually struck him out his first 3 times up at the plate.
And then he had a little tapper out in front of home that Russell Martin jumped on and threw him out at first. It was a bad night at the plate for Cameron Maybin. He's always been one of those young players you say, well, one of these years it's all going to come together for him, but so far it really hasn't.
He has stolen his share of bases. He's 21 for 27 this year. He's played okay defense with his speed in center field. When you look at his talent, ability, the quickness of his bat, you would think that he'd be hitting higher than 265. And there's been too many strikeouts.
And here's another one this inning. That's the first strikeout for Estrada.
And it's a great changeup right here. Takes a little something off, and it really messes with the timing of Maybin. And Marco now has 2 down with a runner at first base.
Jace Peterson. He was originally drafted by San Diego. He's from Lake Charles, Louisiana. He wouldn't chase that changeup, but it's 2-0. Marco Estrada, over his last 6 starts, gone 2-2 with a 363 earned run average. But the interesting number that jumps out off the page is the fact he's given up 10 home runs. But the opponent's still hitting just 200 during those 6 starts. But the long ball has really crept into his games lately. Gave up 3 to the Yankees in his last start. This should be a good matchup for him here, this big ballpark, and the fact that the Braves don't hit many home runs.
Well, the home runs that the Yankees hit against him, I never want to say home runs are cheap, but they were some cheap home runs. If you remember the A-Rod home run to right field, it landed in the first row in right field at Yankee Stadium, which is about 300 feet away. Brett Gardner also hit a home run that, wasn't
fly ball.
Yeah, it was basically a fly ball.
2-2. But they're still home runs, and you have to pitch the ballpark. That's why I think this is a good spot for him tonight.
This could work out for him. He is a fly ball type of pitcher. He has already had 3 balls in the air that have been recorded for outs tonight. And you're facing a team that doesn't have a lot of power, so you can challenge these guys in this ballpark.
This is popped up on the infield near the mound. Josh Donaldson saw it. I don't know that Ryan Goins ever saw it, but Donaldson had it. No problem at all. They'll come back for the 3rd time of the order. table setter Ben Revere. He's been on base already once. Donaldson struck out and Bautista popped out. No score here in Atlanta.
TV. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Every night on every device. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Buck, how about that pennant race going on right now in the American League West?
It's sure getting interesting over there in the West. The Texas Rangers have leapfrogged over the Houston Astros. They've won 4 straight. They play once again tonight. Kobe Lewis goes to the mound against the youngster Lance McCullers as Houston needs to slow down that hard-charging Texas Ranger ball club.
That is hard to do right now. Texas is playing very confident baseball. Houston is, losing. They're on a losing streak, and that snowball's rolling downhill, isn't it?
It sure is, and their ace got hammered last night, Dallas Keuchel. Ben Revere bounces it towards second. Big hop for Chase Peterson. 1 down. Yeah, once you get that ball rolling down the hill, it's hard to slow down a team that gets hot late in the season.
Yeah, you start playing on your heels, and if something bad happens, you're like, okay, here we go again. And that's been the problem, I think, with Houston right now. And it's not just the American League West, I think, that the Astros have to think about. They're only a game and a half up on Minnesota for the second wild card.
Yeah, and that's a real concern. That wild card spot is in jeopardy for sure. Josh Donaldson, he struck out his first time up on a high fastball.
Lots of sliders early that we have seen from the Braves to Josh Donaldson. Josh came into the series hitting over 360 on that first pitch of at-bats. I think they saw that. They've started feeding a lot of off-speed pitches early in the count, and there's another one.
Well, that was interesting. That was kind of a quick pitch as he didn't come to a full set. But because there's no one on base, it's not a priority. You're not required to stop. But he really quick pitched Donaldson there with that 0-2 pitch.
We see relievers do that sometimes. LaTroy Hawkins does it for the Blue Jays. But you're right, with nobody on and he's pitching out of the stretch exclusively, you can do that.
That's a good pitch. He didn't get the call. He got that fastball where he wanted it, down and away.
He had Josh looking for a breaking ball right there, and he slipped the fastball by him.
There's the breaking ball. Second strikeout. Both strikeouts have been Josh Donaldson. Got him on a fastball the first time. This time he gets him on a slider.
This whole thing was set up by the previous pitch. He threw that fastball in the outside corner. It surprises him, and then You throw the breaking ball right behind it in the same spot as a hitter, you're thinking that's another fastball. Start your swing and you can't hold up.
Jose Bautista popped out to the first baseman. He goes after the first pitch, and Cameron Maybin, he's got his eye on it now. It's still twilight. The lights haven't taken full effect, but he sees it. 3 up, 3 down for Whistler in the third.
"22-day countdown to the last home game." Share your passion on social media with hashtag 22daysbluejays and let the celebration begin. Buck, it has been a fantastic ride so far. It began out in St. John's, Newfoundland, and they are making their way across Canada right now, somewhere in Nova Scotia. And there's the van that is going across the country, and a bunch of Blue Jays fans, again, showing their passion. If you have a chance to get out and see them when they're in your hometown, make sure you stop by, say hi, and get your picture taken.
Now, that's an awesome idea, and you can see a lot of fans here. Those are some Rough Rider fans. Have brought their flag to make sure they get caught on camera and recognize the Rough Riders out there in Saskatchewan. This is Andrelton Simmons. He had the game-winning base hit in the opener of this series on Tuesday night. He had a rough night last night. Not only did he make 2 errors in the field, he struck out 3 times. First time he's committed 2 errors in a ball game since July 5th of 2014.
He's a talented player, though. It's somebody to build around. I think he and Freddie Freeman over there at first base, young players that came up through the farm system that you can build this organization around.
High fastball, he went after it. Navarro wanted it upstairs, and he got the desired results. A fly ball to center.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
That was interesting, that high fastball, and he got it upstairs. It's really been a weapon for Estrada in this season for him.
You're right. A lot of people think, well, he's got to keep the ball down to be effective. I don't think so. I think ever since Deanna Navarro has introduced that high fastball up in that area right there, because it works well with his curveball and his changeup, we've seen a lot of just lazy fly balls to the outfield all season long for Marco Estrada. Yes, he can get the fastball down, but that's a good pitch for him to stay right up there.
And that one bounces off Estrada's leg. It's going to go into left field. It'll be a base hit for Whistler. His second big league hit. He went upstairs with that fastball, but that time the pitcher got on top of it.
Whistler's having himself a nice day. He has thrown 3 shutout innings and now singles off the right foot. of Marco Estrada. That is the first hit for the Braves. Right off that foot as he brings it around and ricochets off that back side of that foot. Seems to be okay.
Yeah, he fell off to the first base side of the mound and really never had a chance of making a play on it. And here's Nick Markakis with a man at first. Markakis flied out to center field his first time up.
We were talking his first time up. What a season he has had against the Blue Jays. He came into this game, Buck, hitting .579 against the Blue Jays in 6 games.
You got to go back to the drawing board, come up with a new game plan. Since he came into the league 2006, he has more hits against the Blue Jays than anybody. He has 182 hits. It's a full season's of hits for Markakis against the Blue Jays.
That translates to a .303 career average versus the Blue Jays, and he was robbed of a couple of hits in last night's ball game by the Blue Jays defense.
Well, he certainly knows the Blue Jays staff, having played with the Orioles, so he's seen a lot of them. But you mentioned his average coming into this game, .579. That's 11 for 19 in 5 games. He has 11 hits. Stays on that one. This could be 2. Pennington to Goins, back to first. A routine 4-6-3 double play. That gets Estrada out of the third. We'll go to the fourth. Still no score here at Turner Field in Atlanta.
Game interviews. Catch Blue Jays Rewind, part of the morning highlights on Sportsnet 360. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry Davis. And we are in Atlanta, Georgia. Blue Jays wrapping up. And when you're in Georgia, there's always a chance you'll see a former president. How about Jimmy Carter, 39th president of the United States? He was elected in 1976. He's from Plains, Georgia. He and his wife Rosalind here at the ballpark tonight. Big Braves fans, and they have been for a long time.
I think the last time I saw him was at this ballpark for the World Series.
That's right. You would have been here, yeah.
I think he was sitting in those same seats, like right over by the dugouts of the Atlanta Braves. Not in this ballpark, obviously, because it's a new ballpark.
Baseball is certainly appealing to many people, and Jimmy Carter enjoying the game with his wife Rosalind here tonight. So for the Blue Jays, it'll be Encarnacion, Navarro, and Ryan Goins here in the fourth. No score in the ball game. Blue Jays on this trip as a team have hit .264. They've averaged 6 runs a game. They've hit 15 home runs in the 9 games. Russell Martin hit a deep home run here in the 9th last night for his 20th home run.
That was a bomb in this ballpark. Where he hit that thing, that is good to see. Russell hitting that ball the other way.
There's a drive deep to center and up and gone. Edwin Encarnacion, his 33rd home run and his 100th RBI. 1-0 Blue Jays.
You know, I thought Edwin had one his first time up. If you remember that back in the first inning, he sent Nick Markakis up to the wall in right field. That's a home run at Rogers Center. And he said, you know what, I'm not going to give anybody a chance to catch this one. He had an 0-1 fastball right down Broadway, and that thing was tattooed to center field.
So the Blue Jays now can boast 3 30 home run, 100 RBI hitters in their lineup. Encarnacion has just joined Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista. That's the 3rd trio of Blue Jay hitters to put up those numbers in the same season.
Watch where this pitch is, right down the middle, and he got all of it. He's hit plenty in his career, and he knows when he gets all of it, he can get right into that home run trot. Look at that finish. And start putting that right wing up, because that ball left here in a hurry.
There's another base hit. Navarro drops one in front of Markakis. 1-0 Blue Jays, a man aboard, nobody out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Lots of baseball left there in Cleveland. Rodano Ventura and Corey Kluber, the starting pitchers in that ball game. Mason Kipnis already 2 for 2. He's hitting .301 for the season. This is Ryan Goins. Goins has made a dramatic turnaround with the bat. I went back and looked at his first 507 at bats coming into this season, right up to August 1st. He had a total of 20 walks in those 507 at bats. He has 22 since August 1st. What a dramatic turnaround. Well, once again, it shows you if you're going to hit in the big leagues, you better get a good pitch to hit.
And if you don't get a pitch to hit, take it. You know, he has worked with Brooke Jacoby. That's Brooke right there. And fixing that swing and making it a little bit more compact. And what it has helped him to do, it's helped him to see the ball just a little bit more and have good at bats.
He's behind 0-2 with Navarro at first. So Ryan in his first 175 games had 20 walks. In his last 38 games he's had 22 walks. So his on-base percentage over those last 38 games is .388.
Part of that, I think, is experience and playing a little bit more consistent baseball.
What a swing. Line drive base hit to left, and that's been a big improvement. He is staying on those balls and driving them on the line.
Earlier in the year, that pitch was giving him problems because he had the high hands and he was dropping them and then getting underneath it and popping the ball into the outfield. I kept saying, you know, when's he going to make an adjustment where he can start to stay on top of that ball? Well, he made the adjustment. And you could see it right there, how that bat stayed level and it stayed on top of the ball, and he just shoots the ball the other way.
Blue Jays getting a look for the second time at Matt Whistler. Home run, single, nobody out for Kevin Pillar, and he walked his first time up. Blue Jays laid it 1-0 on Edwin Encarnacion's 33rd home run of the season.
But, you know, this is the influence, I think, of playing the National League game here, the Blue Jays. Think about that. You got runners on first and second, nobody out. I think if the Blue Jays were playing at home, they'd be inclined to try and play for some more runs here and bunt the runners in the scoring position. But because you're in the National League part, what are they going to do?
Yeah, it's hard to give away an out when you're here at this point of your lineup. You're in the 7th spot, then the 8th hitter comes up.
And you walk him if you're successful.
Yeah, and you've got another out coming up in the pitcher's spot.
So you've got to go ahead and hit away. You can't hit and run here in this situation either.
Breaking ball pulled foul.
You got to hope for a base hit.
Yeah, and those are all the things you have to think about when you come into interleague play. You have to think about, okay, I'm in the lineup 7th, and you're right. In an American League game, the Blue Jays would probably bunt here and then have Pennington and probably Pilar in the 9th spot, you know.
And it would force the manager to decide, do I want to walk the guy and face another hitter with the bases loaded? But you're not going to do that here.
Well, the Blue Jays, they haven't been issued too many free passes all season long because of the depth of their lineup. You don't want to put a hitter on and bring another hitter to the plate.
Right. So now Pilar's got to score with a base hit. There's a gap in left center field. If Whistler hangs that breaking ball to him.
One ball and 2 strikes. A run in here in the 4th, and there's still nobody out. Blue Jays are 5-4 on this road trip. Trying to finish up with a win here tonight, win the series against the Braves, and go home and take on the Red Sox starting tomorrow night. It'll be the final homestand of the season for the Blue Jays, and what an exciting schedule. Boston, New York, Tampa Bay. That's popped up right near the mound. Whistler has to get out of the way. Infield fly rule is called. 1 down. Well, we talk about the improvement of the pitching since the All-Star break, and it's really reflected in their win-loss record.
How about their earned run average of 333 in their last 44 games? They've won 33 of those 44 ball games. They're doing everything. They're hitting. They're playing great defense. They're hitting home runs. You can see they've tied for the 2nd most home runs in the last 44 games. They're getting great starting pitching, and the bullpen has really come together. So they're hitting on all cylinders right now.
The Blue Jays offensively have been consistent all season long. They've scored over 5 runs a game in each month of the season. Got up to a season high of 6.3 in August. But the difference is the pitching and the defense.
The addition of David Price into that starting rotation, there was a black hole, if you will, I think, for the Blue Jays when that 5th spot would come around, and they tried different guys there, and they weren't major league pitchers. They weren't doing the job. But once they got David Price, Strada started kicking it into gear, Dickey started kicking it into gear. Burley and Hutchison, the 5 starters, really started pitching well. And that made the bullpen a little bit better when they got a couple of more arms. They started playing better defense with Ben Revere in left field and Tulo at shortstop. So everything's been clicking for the Jays.
There go the runners. This is a long drive to right. Get up, ball, get up and gone. Cliff Pennington with a 3-run home run really put a charge in it. And the Blue Jays were running
on an 0-2 pitch, which was really interesting. Trying to make something happen. You got that pitcher coming up next. And John Gibbons, who grew up in the National League when he was a player with the Mets, knows you have to make something happen. And he wasn't going to squander this opportunity with these base hits. So he starts the runner 0-2. Pennington gets a heater, and he crushes it to right field. 2nd home run on this road trip for Cliff Pennington.
Boy, that was a no-doubter in a big part of the field. 2 home runs this inning. And you talk about the Blue Jays doing some scouting in their first at bat and cashing in their second at bat. 4 hits in the inning, 4 runs, another big 4-run inning. Marco Estrada fouls it back.
Now this is an 0-2 pitch from Whistler. Pennington gets a high fastball and doesn't miss it. There go the runners, as he doesn't pay attention to him, and then maybe that distracts him. I'm not sure, but he hung that fastball.
Well, it's interesting too, because the runners were Deanna Navarro and Ryan Goins, but they used the element of surprise to start the runner, just to create some kind of movement, and Pennington hammered the ball. Look at this. That's going to get down for a base hit for Marco Estrada. That's the 5th hit this inning for Marco Estrada. That's his 19th career hit.
Marco hit the ball sharply his first time up, grounding out the second base. This time he just dumps one into right field. Blue Jays have made the adjustment, I think, second time through the lineup. Breaking ball. It's up, and Estrada, he adds to the hit total.
He dumps one into center field, and then once he gets to first base, he gets involved with like all the hitters, and he was giving them that stirred up motion very sheepishly, and not very long, but just a real quick one.
Well, let's see him as at first base. I'm part of the team. There it is. I've been practicing it all day.
He said he could hit a little bit, and he was being very modest about that, but now he's got 19 big league hits. How about the Blue Jays? Second time through the order, they have figured out Whistler, and Whistler got a quick visit from Roger McDowell, the pitching coach. Back to the top of the order, still just 1 out. Ben Revere, the 7th Blue Jay to bat here in the 4th. He goes the other way. Swisher's on the run. He'll get there right near the left field foul line. That's the 2nd out.
That was a fair ball. Swisher was playing Revere the other way, where that ball falls in.
Donaldson waves at that first pitch breaking ball. Oh, and 2. Fights off that high heater. Well, he's getting a steady diet of sliders, isn't he?
Yeah, you can see him thinking right now. He's thinking through this at bat. Okay, he's throwing me a fastball. He's throwing me a lot of sliders. You know, what should I be looking for right here? When you start guessing wrong, that's when bad things happen. What you have to do, I think, right now in the situation 0-2, just look for the baseball.
Breaking ball off the plate. Off the end of the bat. Long run for Peterson. Donaldson hustling up the line. And he is out at first. Ground ball to the second baseman, ends it. Blue Jays score 4 runs in the 4th inning. Edwin Encarnacion got it all started. He hits a leadoff home run to deep center field. Home run number 33. RBI number 100 for Double E.
Final homestand of the season tomorrow when they take on the Red Sox at 7:07. If you are fortunate enough to have tickets, well, you're going to enjoy tomorrow night. It's Connect with the Jays Night presented by Honda. Get to the Rogers Center early because the first 15,000 fans will receive one of these very cool Jays Come Together t-shirts. And what a fitting slogan this has been for a very, very tight-knit group of ball players, Buck.
Sure is. It's become a very close team, and these two guys in this 4th inning, Edwin Encarnacion with a leadoff home run, and then Cliff Pennington, second baseman, standing right next door. Hit a 3-run home run, and there was a no-doubt home run here. He gets on top of this high fastball and drills it to right.
He hit a big home run at Yankee Stadium for the Blue Jays when they won that game in New York, one of those games in that doubleheader. And that's a big blow right there. Those 3-run home runs are tough.
Pennington hit a 2-run home run in that 6-run second inning in game 2 of the doubleheader on Saturday against the Yankees. This is Hector Olivera. He came to the Braves in that Dodger deal. He goes after that high fastball. Ryan Goins, the shortstop, underneath it, makes the catch. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. It's a rarity, but every once in a while those baseballs will hit the catwalks. They'll stay up there. They'll get trapped on that catwalk and never come down. And it depends on which ring they hit as to whether or not it's a ground rule double or a home run. Freddie Freeman, the first baseman. Marco Estrada came into this game with the lowest opponent's batting average in the American League. The only hit tonight for Atlanta came off the bat of the pitcher. It was a comeback of the hit Estrada in the foot and bounced into left field.
Yeah, he overtook Sonny Gray. Gray for the longest time was leading the American League in opponents batting average against, but now he is second. Marco has the best.
And here he loses Freddie Freeman with 1 out. Second walk issued by Estrada tonight. The Braves have had just 3 base runners. A.J. Pierzynski, a dead low ball hitter. Well, he's got that down swing, and he wants to golf everything. Anything down around the knees, he's going to jump on.
And early in the count, he's looking for that first pitch. Swung at the first pitch his first time up.
Pierzynski was the Silver Slugger in the American League at catcher 2012 while playing for the Chicago White Sox. That recognizes the best offensive player at their position. That year with Chicago, he hit .278 with 77 ribbies and 27 home runs. And then you look at Pierzynski and where he sits in the all-time leaderboards among catchers. He's right up among some of the best. He's ahead of Johnny Bench in career doubles. He is 6th on the doubles list for catchers. That's a low ball. He checks his swing. They go quickly to second for one, and what a turn by Goins. Pierzynski was hustling up the line. It wasn't a very hard hit ball. Pennington had to wait on it, but watch how quickly Goins comes across the bag and fires quickly to first. A terrific double play ends the fourth. 4-0 Blue Jays. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker. And when you look at the franchise OPS leaders, Carlos Delgado 949, and then Bautista and Encarnacion, two of the best sluggers that have ever worn a Blue Jays uniform.
Yeah, I think anybody on that list is going to be a pretty good player. All-time on-base plus slugging average. Delgado was a lot like Bautista, had a great eye at the plate, and if you made a mistake, he could lose the ball. Encarnacion and Jose, the same kind of. They're disciplined hitters. They're run producers. They're home run hitters, but they have an idea at the plate. They're not free swingers. A lot of times you'll see free swingers who are sluggers, but not these guys. They're under control. And when you make a mistake, like we saw to Edwin Encarnacion from Matt Whistler, they can lose it and lose it in a hurry.
With the home run in the fourth, and Edwin now has 100 RBIs and 33 home runs. So the trio of Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion putting up big numbers. They become the third trio of Blue Jay hitters to record 30-plus homer seasons and 100-plus RBIs. In 1998, Canseco, Delgado, and Shawn Green put up those numbers. Bautista, let's say, pop up into shallow left. Simmons is there. And then in 2000, Tony Batista had 41 homers and 114 RBIs. Carlos Delgado again. And Brad Fulmer. So there have been three trios of Blue Jay hitters that have hit 30-plus and driven in 100 plus.
You know, it's been a special type of numbers, I think, for the Blue Jays, that 30 and 100. So rare that it hasn't happened for almost 10 years in all of baseball.
And that's the value of having all of these guys back to back to back.
You might get one, you might get two of them out, but you got to deal with the other guy.
And of course, the next one is still missing. That's Troy Tulowitzki, and we've been told today he went to Boston to see a specialist and have his back checked. Look at that shoulder blade, see how the healing process is going. So you can imagine it gets even more of a challenge when you have Tulowitzki in there behind Encarnacion. You know, Dennis Eckersley, who does broadcast for the Red Sox, the Hall of Fame pitcher, he was a starter and a reliever. He said, man, this lineup will wear you out. He said, you're going to hang one sooner or later to somebody. You know, you can make good pitches to the first three guys and then hang a couple to 4 and 5 and you're down 2-0.
You know what it does? I think it wears you down physically, obviously, because every pitch seems to be stressful and it's a maximum effort type of pitch, because if you make a mistake you can fall behind, but I think it wears you out emotionally also.
There's a fly ball. This one not that deep into center. Maybe over in the alley, makes the catch, 2 outs. Yeah, you're right, you never look in. You stand on the rubber and you say, okay, let me look here, I got Encarnacion. Then you look up and say, oh well, I got Navarro, he's already got a hit off me. You look behind him, up there's Goins, he's got a hit off me. And you always have to deal with this guy. He's a 2-time home run champ. People have a tendency to forget about. But it's a terrific lineup. And they have been good all year long.
Yep. They've been, when one guy starts to go into a little bit of a slump, somebody else picks you up. It's fun when everybody's swinging.
Fun for the Blue Jays.
Fun for the Blue Jays.
Not so much fun for the pitcher.
Fun for you and me. We get to watch it every night.
2 outs, Deanna Navarro. He's 2 for 2. We mentioned Navarro last year had a career season as the everyday catcher for the Blue Jays. And, you know, early on there was some talk, well, maybe Navarro would be better off if he were traded, or maybe we can get something for him, or, you know, maybe he wants to go somewhere else. And he expressed the desire, hey, I had a career here, I'd like to play every day. That's what he said early in spring training. But to his credit, he said it one time and it was done. He never brought it up again. And boy, he's been a terrific teammate and a very good backup player for Russell Martin.
I remember talking to some of the coaches who saw Deanna last year perform and come up with some big base hits, and I said to him, you know, in spring training, what do you think is going to happen? And every one of the coaches said, I hope they don't trade him. He came up with some big hits for us. He is a professional hitter. Good hitters do not grow on trees like that, and it's tough to give up. Guys who can swing the bat and produce, I don't care what role you're in.
Yeah, he hit 274 last season with a career high 69 RBIs. It's this ball high and deep to right. Markakis on the run at the track, off the wall. Navarro's headed for second, and he'll get there standing up with his 3rd hit of the night. Deanna Navarro is 3 for 3.
And that's another ball that in any other ballpark, I think, Buck, is a home run. And he got all of that. Another high fastball from Matt Wisler. And this lineup is going to make you pay when you make mistakes like that. Deep to right field, probably the deepest part of this ballpark. It's 390 to the power alley in right center field. And Deanna hits one off the wall for extra bases.
You can see he was doing the curls, suggesting he needed to go back to the weight room to hit it out of the ballpark.
It's a big man's ballpark.
It is a big man's ballpark. Ryan Goins, he has a single so far. He scored a run in the 4th.
One more time. First of all, let's stir it up, and then, all right, I got to get some curls out.
2-0 to Goins. Yeah, this ballpark will make you work on your line drive stroke. You don't want to hit too many fly balls here.
No, it's going to get caught. It's not going to go anywhere. You want line drives.
Well, Navarro was running the last time he was at second base when Cliff Bennington connected on an 0-2 pitch, so they thought they might sneak it behind him and pick him up.
We've got to ask him, what did you think when you saw the steal sign? Were you shocked? It was an 0-2 pitch to Bennington, and Navarro was the lead runner with Goins behind him, and they had the double steal going.
You know what's interesting about that? That if they did give him the steal sign 0-2, that he didn't miss it. You've been out there on the bases when that's the last thing you think about, especially 0-2.
Well, yeah, and if you're not a base stealer.
Yeah.
You know, DeHonnor's not a base stealer.
But he didn't miss the sign.
He didn't miss the sign.
3-0 to Goins. He gets the green light and singles into center. Navarro will stop at third. Ryan Goins, you talk about progressing as a hitter. He's earned the trust to get the green light. 3-0.
The all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
You know, we had a shot of Ryan singling his last time up. Same type of approach right here. That's a high fastball. And he is able to stay on that one. Level swing. Hits it so hard and right at the center fielder. No chance for Navarro to score, but that's a good looking swing right there.
Ryan is 2 for 3. 2 outs now for Kevin Pillar. Boy, it's just really interesting. The Blue Jays just needed one time through the order, get a good look, have a better idea what they were dealing with in Matt Whistler, and they have connected for 4 runs on 9 hits. There's a drive to left field, but that's going to stay in the ballpark. Swisher has plenty of room in left. Pillar's retired. The Blue Jays leave a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-0 Jays.
HBC hosts Kraft Hockeyville 2015. It goes Monday 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on Sportsnet.
The crowd at the ballpark always very interesting, and between innings they have Kiss Cam here at Turner Field, and the fans, they'll see themselves up on Kiss Cam. And how about the former president, Rosalind Carter? They entertained the crowd here with a kiss on Kiss Cam. He is a Georgia native, of course, former governor of Georgia and the 39th president of the United States, here with his wife, Ronalyn.
How awesome is that?
That was very cool, wasn't it?
Two people in love like that. He's not afraid to do that on the Kiss Cam here at Turner Field.
We move to the bottom of the fifth. The Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead, and what's new? Marco Estrada shutting out the Braves on 1 hit through 4 innings. How many times have we said that? He has been terrific, and what a pleasant surprise he has been.
Marco also has a base hit tonight.
All the pitchers always compete for who's going to get the most hits in interleague play, and generally it's a matter of 1 or 2.
If, right?
David Price had a good at bat in his game last night. It was a ground out in the 4th inning to move Cliff Bennington from 2nd to 3rd with nobody out. Swisher fouls that ball off his foot.
Well, if there was one pitcher that the Blue Jays have and you had a chance, who would you pick to be the best hitter? If you had one chance to get a base hit, who do you think it would be?
For me, it would be Drew Hutchison.
That's who I was going to take.
Yeah. He's a shortstop. Yeah. He played shortstop in high school. Very athletic. He's a left-handed hitter. He's got a couple hits last year.
Yeah, you and I saw him last year in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He was raking. Just a good athlete.
Yeah, he is a good athlete, and he is now down in the bullpen for the time being. But there is the possibility he will get another start down the road. But Blue Jays aren't concerned about the postseason right now. They're playing the regular season, and they want to make sure that they don't get ahead of themselves.
There's a lot to play for if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. The American League East Division. The best record, well, really the second best record is probably second if you can't get the first. And then they have a chance to have the best record in the American League, so there's a lot to play for, and they're going to play all the way through.
Yeah, and I think you put it in a proper priority. Win a division is the first thing. That's what you got to shoot for.
Good pitch.
Fouled into the glove, and Navarro holds on.
And then,
Swisher strikes out.
And then you want to have the best record so you can host a playoff division series. And then you want to have the best overall record so you can host all the playoff series.
Yeah, and this year the American League will host the World Series as they won the All-Star game. The difference for the Blue Jays, they are 47-25 at home, 22 games over 500. On the road, they are a game under. So it's a distinct advantage for the Blue Jays to have home field advantage should they make the playoffs.
And the players have told you and me what the fans have meant to them this year. Over the second half of this season, they have been coming out, and it's a definite, and I mean definite, home field advantage for the Blue Jays for what the fans have done.
No question about it, and it starts very early. Starts before the first pitch, and Marcus Stroman left Atlanta this afternoon. He has flown back to Toronto to prepare for his start. He didn't want to be on that charter and arrive at 3 in the morning, so he'll get a good night's sleep in Toronto. He told me here in Atlanta that he is really excited about pitching on Friday night, opening up the final homestand in front of that great crowd. This is Cameron Maybin.
I think it'll be an electric atmosphere. First with the Boston Red Sox coming to town over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the New York Yankees.
Fouled straight back. Well, the last time the Blue Jays played at home, they had 46,136 at Rogers Center, and it promises to be another sold-out crowd. And oh, by the way, there's some football going on. Peyton Manning against the Kansas City Chiefs. Thursday night NFL football. 3-2 to Cameron Maybin. He hits it through the left side into left field for a base hit. That's his first base hit of the series.
the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jace Peterson, the second baseman. He goes after the first pitch, and Donaldson into foul territory. Peterson has popped out to the third baseman twice in his 2 at-bats, this time in foul ground. Marco Estrada has established a new career high in innings pitched in games started and wins. He comes into this game with a 12-8 record. This is his 25th start. Four 2/3 innings tonight. You know, that's been a topic of conversation with Estrada. Everybody all up in arms. Oh, Estrada's over his career high in innings pitched, and it's like there's no hard number. I mean, if you know, throw 6 more pitches and your arm is going to break, it doesn't happen like that. Every year's different. Every pitch is different. Every pitcher is different. And Pennington takes the short hop, and another terrific defensive play. That saves a hit for Marco Estrada. Another red star in the book for Cliff Pennington. He takes a hit away from Andrelton Simmons. This ball is past him on the short hop, but he stays with it. Gets to his feet to gun down the shortstop. Partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
With Pennington had a home run in the National League. This is going to be his second home run as an American leaguer. It jumps all over this 0-2 fastball, up and in, pulls the hands in, gets the barrel of the bat through, and it's a no-doubter to right field, a second home run on this road trip. That is our drive of the game, and after he hits the home run, he's also made some nice plays in the field.
Andrelton Simmons making a bid for a base hit. Pennington takes it on the short hop, got to his feet, and throws to first to end the inning. And wouldn't you know it, he leads off the next inning. Pennington is 2 for 2. He singled in the second, homered in the fourth. Cliff Pennington is from Corpus Christi, Texas. He went to high school in Corpus Christi. Went to college at College Station, Texas. He went to Texas A&M. He was a #1 pick of the Oakland A's in 2005. Pennington, he's got some postseason experience. He played in the ALDS against Detroit in 2012. He went 4 for 14 in that series. Drives this one into center. Maven got a good break and makes a running catch. Pennington's retired for the first time tonight.
You know what you see with veterans, especially the guys that the Blue Jays have picked up since the trade deadline? I'm talking about Darwin Barney and Ben Revere and Cliff Pennington. There's no urgency in their game, right? They play under control. Nothing seems to faze them. They've been here before. They're veterans. They know what to do, and there's just no urgency or speed in their game.
Yeah, they have the ability to slow the game down and think their way through it. Marcus Estrada, the pitcher, he's got a hit tonight. He's 1 for 2.
You can see that in young players when they come up and they try too hard or they try to do stuff that they're not really capable of. Veterans who have been around, they just take their time and position themselves in the right spot, make good plays. They don't hurry. I mean, it's been a marked improvement, I think, the players that they have brought in here.
And I think it was a concentrated effort to do that. I think they wanted to get character guys that could fill voids at the same time add character to this team, and it's been a constant theme. Each time they bring a guy in, you look at his skills and say, okay, his skills are good, but man, off the chart character. Darwin Barney, when Tulowitzki went down, Alex Anthopoulos was on the phone. He was calling around and inquiring about a middle infielder, and Barney got a lot of high praise and endorsements from a lot of people around baseball. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Good night at the old ballpark here in Atlanta. Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead. They bat in the 6th. Ben Revere walked his first time up. He was stranded on base. He has since grounded out and flied out. Ground ball up the middle. Simmons close to second. In time. Matt Whistler retires the side in order. He is a scheduled leadoff man. He'll probably be done in this ball game tonight. Blue Jays up 4-0.
Bundesliga, Euro 2016 qualifiers, FA Cup, and more. Contact your television providers to subscribe today. Visit sportsnet.ca/world for details. Buck, even after last night's game, catching 9 innings and hitting his 20th home run, Russell Martin was there in the clubhouse bouncing around that soccer ball.
Yeah, he was out early this afternoon kicking it around, just kind of getting loose again, and that has been part of his program all season long. And they stick with it. Pitcher spot is due up to start the 6th, and we'll get a pinch hitter. It'll be Pedro Ciriaco, a journeyman infielder. Ciriaco making his first appearance in this series.
Blue Jays know all about Pedro Ciriaco. They saw him with the Boston Red Sox. He is a notorious first ball, fastball type of hitter.
Boy, is he ever. He is up there with one thing on his mind. Ciriaco's now 29 years old. He's from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. Signed as a free agent with Arizona. And there's that first pitch swing.
And they do the right thing. They threw that cutter. That's a pitch that is instituted this year by Marco Estrada, something that he can use to lefties. He's also found success versus the right-handed batters this season. And that's why you throw it right there. Fastball hitter, just get it off the barrel.
Another one off the barrel. That's interesting phrase, and we talk about it a lot as baseball players. But when you think about it, Pat, what would you say the sweet spot on a bat is? About 3.5, 4 inches?
Yeah, and if you're going to hit it right, about the size of a dime, the circumference of a dime. But you're right, the sweet spot where you can get generally hits is about 3 inches, 3.5 inches.
And all you need to do is move that baseball 3 or 4 inches, and it'll take it off that sweet spot. 0-2. He goes around. So the pinch hitter Ciriaco strikes out on 3 pitches. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update for us. Infante with a big night. 5 RBIs gives him 42 for the season, and they're putting it on Corey Kluber and the Indians. That's a surprise. I thought Kluber would be tough on them tonight, but Kansas City, they know what's at stake. They went to the World Series.
Sure. Kluber's been injured. Is this his first start in a while?
Yeah.
The hamstring problems, I believe he had.
He lasted 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, just 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Nick Markakis chasing that high fastball. We have talked about it. Pat, you get the questions. I get the questions. Everybody wants to know, why is Marco Estrada having such a good year? I think his catcher has a lot to do with it. I think maturity has a lot to do with it. And he's made some adjustments.
There's another cutter right there. In the high fastball, you saw that previous pitch to Nick Markakis. It looks so inviting, but he puts it in a good spot. You foul it back, or you pop it up, or you hit a lazy fly ball to center field. Then you drop that curveball and the changeup. I mean, he's had 3 pitches pretty much all season working for him. Every time he takes the mound.
One ball, 2 strikes to Nick Markakis. That's a borderline strike, and Markakis has to protect. You know, it's so easy to generalize, and I had pitching coaches do it to me during my career. When a guy give up a home run, they say, oh, it must have been up. Well, not every pitch that's up gets hit out of the ballpark. A lot of people pitch upstairs. Markakis gets on top of that one, but it's fouled.
About time for a curveball now, isn't it? That's 3 straight high fastballs that he has thrown to Markakis, and Nick was on top of that one.
You hit against Pat Henkin during your playing days, and he was a guy that pitched upstairs at 91, 92 miles an hour and won a Cy Young.
Yeah, and how many easy fly balls to center field did you see when Patrick was on the mound?
Change up. Markakis can just get the bat on the ball. Lazy fly ball to center. 2 down.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful night in Georgia. Turner Field going to give way to a new ballpark in 2017. SunTrust Ballpark is being built north of the city, and it is ahead of schedule by all reports. Hard to fathom this one is obsolete.
20 years old, if that.
Oliveira grounds to short. Marco Estrada is through 6 innings. He's shutting out the Braves on just 2 hits.
Our final homestand of the season. And on Sunday, September 27th, the Blue Jays host the Rays at 1:07. It is Blue Jays hoodie giveaway presented by Allstate. If you have tickets, get to the Rogers Center early. We only have 20,000 of these fantastic looking hoodies. Fans, they are a great little thing that we're giving away, and there are many fans that want to get one. So remember, get to the ballpark early on the 27th. Buck?
Barry, I want one.
I
They
want
look
one.
good. That'd be perfect for fishing this winter on the shore. Mark Burley, he wears a hoodie all the time. And that's a nice looking giveaway on the Fan Appreciation Weekend. New pitcher into the ball game for Atlanta will be the veteran Edwin Jackson. And the Blue Jays have seen Jackson in the past, and he has had a very long and successful career.
He was a Jay momentarily. Remember that 3-team trade that the Blue Jays had a few years ago, and Colby Rasmus came from St. Louis. Edwin Jackson was in that trade. There are his numbers this year with the Cubs and Atlanta, 2-3 with a 356 earned run average. He was released by the Cubs back on July the 29th, signed with the Braves, and here he is in the big leagues.
Edwin Jackson started out in the Dodgers system. He was signed out of Columbus, Georgia high school. A Dodgers 6th-round pick in 2001. So Josh Donaldson, who's gone 0 for 3 so far tonight, steps in against Edwin Jackson. And what's he throw him? A breaking ball.
A breaking ball. People know what Josh hits on that first pitch of at bat, so he's going to get a steady diet of off-speed pitches.
Two and 0. Big bouncing ball to third. Oliveira throws off line, but Freeman's there to tag. Donaldson, 1 down. So Jose Bautista will come up. Once again, this is a great illustration of the balance of the Blue Jays lineup. Donaldson's 0 for 4, Bautista's 0 for 3, and the Blue Jays lead 4-0. And they've hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, and Ben Revere's 0 for 3 with a walk. But the bottom of the lineup, the middle of the lineup, they did their damage early. Blue Jays have only scored in 1 inning. That was the 4-run 4th inning.
Edwin Jackson threw a no-hitter in 2010. He was throwing against his former team, the Tampa Bay Rays, pitching for the Tigers, and threw a no-hitter. Threw 149 pitches in that game.
He's always had a really good arm, and he's always had innings. Throws a lot of innings in his career.
2009, he threw 214 innings. He threw that no-hitter for the Diamondbacks as he was pitching for Arizona at that time. He spent some time with the Devil Rays, 2006, 2007, part of 2008. Bautista, he has walked quickly. He's on base for the first time tonight. Edwin Encarnacion got everything started with a leadoff home run in the 4th. Look out. He had to bail out on that up and in fastball.
Looked like they wanted to go away, but that thing was up and in. That's really been the problem for Edwin Jackson in his career. He's had the great arm, but a little bit inconsistent in the strike zone. That time sends Edwin backwards.
Off-speed pitch. He had mentioned Jackson had spent some time with the Blue Jays. In July of 2011, he was traded by the White Sox with Mark Teahen to the Blue Jays for Jason Frazier and Zach Stewart. Same day, the Blue Jays traded Jackson with Dotel, Patterson, and Zebchinskis to St. Louis. Colby Rasmus, Trevor Miller, Brian Talent came back to the Blue Jays, and P.J. Walters. It was a very involved trade at the July trade deadline.
And didn't the St. Louis Cardinals go on to win it all that year? Helped them out. They needed to fortify their bullpen.
Dotel and Zebchinski certainly did that. Isn't it interesting, all of the players that have been through the Blue Jays over the last 5 years? I mean, obviously last year, 25 players that appeared for the Blue Jays in the game last year are out of the organization. 25.
Out of the organization.
They played in the game. They appeared in the game, either pitched an inning or got an at-bat for the Blue Jays last year. 25 of those players no longer with the organization.
Didn't we say that a couple of years ago also? At the start of the season, that there were about 15 guys who were on the team the previous year no longer there?
You know, you just got to keep doing it until you get it right.
They got it right.
Did they ever? 3-2 to Encarnacion. Bautista's at first. There goes Jose. Pulled foul. Bautista was on the move. It's only a 4-run game. 4-0. And we have talked about that magic number. When the Blue Jays score 4 or less, they are 10-52.
Just keep adding on. You got the right guys at the plate right here. They start that runner at first base, so if there's an extra base hit, give him a little bit of a head start so Jose can score.
Well, John Gibbons, he was the gambler earlier in this game in the 4th inning with runners at first and second on the 0-2 count on Cliff Pennington. They started the runners. Pennington hit a 3-run homer. There he goes. Ball is popped in the air to right. Bautista stops halfway between first and second. Markakis makes the catch. Bautista shuffles back to first. So here comes the red-hot Deanna Navarro. Is that a 3-hit game?
I'd like to see him hit that ball like he did last time. That double to right center field, that will score Jose from first base. He has put together a pretty good night tonight. 3 for 3, 3 line drives for Deanna.
It's the third 3-hit game of the season for Navarro. Yonder batting .245, where he has really picked up his batting average of late. This a fly ball to left center. Maven has plenty of room, but Navarro takes him to the warning track to the power alley in left center. But the Blue Jays will leave a base runner in there after the 7th. 4-0 Blue Jays.
App has you covered. Keep up to speed with everything Blue Jays. Don't miss a pitch with our in-depth game live tracker. Plus the latest news, videos, and interviews on Canada's team. Download the new Sportsnet app today. Bye.
Great opportunities to stay in touch with everything that's going on in the baseball world. And tonight, how about Marco Estrada once again? No runs on 2 hits through 6 innings. He's thrown 77 pitches, and I felt like this would be a good game for him against the Atlanta Braves in this big ballpark where he can keep the ball in the yard.
Good
He's
matchup.
pitched well.
Yeah, he has. He looks fresh tonight. His last 2 starts against Baltimore and the Yankees, he was only able to go 5 innings against each one of those teams. But you're right, this is a good matchup for him in this ballpark against a team with not a lot of power in it, and he's a fly ball type of pitcher. I'll tell you what, it would do wonders for the Blue Jays if he could pitch the 7th and the 8th inning. Freshen up that bullpen before that big series against the Boston Red Sox.
I think Osuna needs to pitch tonight, no matter what the score is. He hasn't pitched for a while. He could go out there and throw an inning, a little work in. Osuna hasn't pitched since game 1 Saturday. Well, that's a long time. And I just don't think you want him to go into the weekend without having an inning. And he's been so efficient. I think he can come out and get an inning of work tonight.
They've had him up a couple of times. He just hasn't been in the ball game.
You see Navarro again calling for that high fastball. He wanted Freddie Freeman to chase that pitch, and there's that very quick sign. Now he wants it down. And you can see him nodding. That's where I wanted it. You talk about a guy in Estrada, who has turned his game over to his catcher.
Yeah, he's got total faith in what Navarro is calling back there.
There's a deep drive to right. Bautista on the run at the track, runs it down. Marco Estrada, he doesn't get the credit he deserves for the kind of season he's put together, but you look at the opponent's average second and third time through the order, he's right there with David Price shutting the team down.
This is a true measure, I think, of a player, how effective they are. Does that batting average go down? David Price, they only hit 200 against him the second and third time through. They start to gather information. Marco Estrada right there at 227. Tells me that, you know, he'll make adjustments in game if need be, and he'll start using his curveball a little bit more, or he might use his changeup just a little bit more. Those are the kind of adjustments you have to make from inning to inning and from at bat to at bat.
There's another fly ball. Shallow right field. Bautista with a long run. He'll get there, and Pierzynski's retired. Another fly ball out for a strike. You know, the Blue Jays on this road trip have not pitched well. They've pitched to a .515 earned run average. They've given up 12 home runs in the 9 games. And they've thrown 16, almost 17 pitches per inning. That's a little bit away from their norm in the second half. It's not been a particularly good trip for the pitchers.
Well, they faced Boston, as you see the pinch hitter right here, Michael Bourne. He's going to hit for Nick Swisher. Boston and Fenway Park, they were hitting everything. And then you got the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, a couple of hitters' ballparks.
Well, Marco Estrada taking advantage of this ballpark. He gets the pinch hitter Michael Bourne on one pitch. Free fly ball outs, and Estrada is through the 7th.
And those are some great baseball cards right there. And it's where you can vote for today's play of the game. You can do so today and every day following the game on sportsnet.ca. And guys, I think Cliff Pennington once again is going to qualify for a possible play of the game with the Jays.
He has played well. He's got a red star in the book tonight. That is Michael Bourne, who pinch hit for Dick Swisher. He takes over defensively in left field. Pennington robbed Andrelton Simmons of a base hit in the 5th. Made the 3rd out of that inning. Brian Goins has been on that list for the play of the game several times.
Tonight he might get the play of the game the way he's been swinging the bat. A couple of hits tonight.
2 for 3. Edwin Jackson in his 2nd inning of work. Looking ahead to the Red Sox series, the Blue Jays will open up. Marcus Stroman will go to the mound for the Jays Friday night against Rick Porcello. Last time the Blue Jays saw Porcello, he was perfect. He was nasty. Porcello has an 8-12 record. Saturday afternoon note to start time. It's 4:07 on Saturday afternoon. R.A. Dickey will start for the Blue Jays. Be opposed by Wade Miley, the left-hander, in the Sunday finale. It'll be Burley against Rich Hill as Goins strikes out.
A couple of lefties in that starting rotation for the Boston Red Sox.
Rich Hill came back from the minor leagues, had a great start, 7 innings of 1-hit ball, his first start for Boston.
A lot of strikeouts.
A lot of strikeouts. I think he struck out 7.
I think he got more than that. I think he got 10. Drew Smiley, who's matched up with him, I think Smiley had 11 and he had 10 down in Tampa Bay. So that'll be interesting.
Just foul outside of third off the bat of Kevin Pillar. Blue Jays have scored 4 runs on 9 hits, and once again we've seen this often. Blue Jays scored all of their runs in the 4th inning.
Tell you, it wouldn't hurt to get an add-on run here or there.
Ground ball, Simmons at short. In time, 2 outs.
The all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Second baseman Cliff Pennington. He's had a good night at the plate. He is 2 for 3 and hit a 3-run home run in the 4th. Edwin Encarnacion hit a leadoff home run in the 4th, and Pennington hit a 3-run homer. Marco Estrada, he's the next scheduled batter.
Jackson's going to throw a lot of breaking balls here. He walks Pennington, then he's going to make John Gibbons make a decision. Does he let Marco Estrada hit? Or does he go to his bullpen? You can see Gibby, he's checking that lineup card. I think you got to let Marco Estrada hit.
Yeah, I think they're going to let him hit. I think you're just keeping him back in that dugout.
He's only thrown 85 pitches. And he has been in command and control tonight.
There's a cut fastball, and the appeal to third is denied. Quinn Wolcott down there at third. Yeah, Marco's going to hit. He's just not on deck. I'm surprised the umpires haven't asked him to come out on deck. They generally want to see that next batter standing on deck.
Here he comes.
High fly ball. Medium depth in center. Maben is there, and the inning is over. So we will go to the bottom of the 8th here in Atlanta. Marco Estrada shutting out the Braves on just 2 hits. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker.
Saturday on City. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry Davis. And this is the final game of this 10-game road trip. The Blue Jays are 5-4 on this trip to this point. This is an interesting game tonight. If they win tonight, they'll improve their record on the road to 37-37. In fact, that's the formula that you always set in spring training. Play 500 on the road and 750 at home, and then you win the pennant.
Yeah, at least 500 on the road.
Yep.
The Blue Jays have fought hard in the second half to get back to 500. They got off to a brutal start on the road this season.
They were 22-31 on the road through August 6th. And now they have improved to 14-6 since then. So it's been a big improvement. This is Cameron Maben. He got a hit his last time up. Marco Estrada. He has never had a complete game. He is pitching in the 8th, and his pitch count is in pretty good shape. He's thrown 88 pitches.
Did he ever come close earlier this year? Huh?
Back-to-back games, perfect game, and a no-hitter.
Back on June the 24th, as Mark Lowe is starting to heat up. 8 2/3 innings for Marco Estrada. 10 strikeouts. He had that no-hitter broken up with an infield single.
It's against Tampa Bay.
And
the Jays would go on and win that game in the 12th inning. A 1-0 win. That's when Chris Colabello hit a home run in the 12th.
That's the closest he has been to a complete game.
Well, at this point of the season, it's not about personal accomplishments. It's about conserving your pitching staff, getting everybody into the best possible shape for the end of the season. Keep everybody as strong as possible. What a good pitch. One down here in the 8th. Maben strikes out for a second time tonight. That's 4 strikeouts for Estrada.
Must have been looking for something off speed, and Marco painted him. Crosses him up one more time with a fastball, a little something extra, and he hits his glove. Look at that. You can't throw the ball any better than that right there. Right in the middle of the catcher. And right on the corner.
Chase Peterson takes the first pitch strike. This is the 5th start Estrada's had against Atlanta. He is 3-1 in the previous 4 games. There's a breaking ball. That's the curveball. We haven't seen many of those tonight.
He hasn't needed them. And that's the beauty of it. When you can throw that fastball where you want to and mix in a changeup. And then late in the game go to a curveball. That's what makes him so effective.
Peterson has popped out twice to Josh Donaldson. This time he hits it off the end of the bat. That's got a little spin on it, but Donaldson handles it with ease. 2 down here in the 8th. Ten straight retired by Estrada, and Pete Walker saying, "What do you think, Skip? Can go back out for the 9th?"
Well, his spot is the leadoff spot next inning. We'll probably see a pinch hitter. But what a job he has done tonight. If he can finish it off right here with Andrelton Simmons.
Simmons with a mighty cut. Simmons is 0 for 2. He was robbed of that base hit in the 5th by Cliff Pennington. Chris Colabello has a bat. He might be the guy that's going to hit for Estrada. Just over the glove of Pennington into right. Bautista cuts it off. Simmons has just the 3rd hit for Atlanta. Comes with 2 outs here in the 8th.
Stayed on that fastball, and Marco upset with himself. He knew that he made a mistake. This one is just up a little bit, and Pennington, who has come up with everything on this road trip, cannot come up with this one. Marco trying to get up, and you can see he's saying, that's my fault. I made a bad pitch.
Todd Cunningham is batting for the pitcher's spot. Cunningham, a switch hitter, batting left-handed against Estrada. Ball one to the pinch hitter. Siriaco is a pinch hitter in the sixth. Michael Bourne pinch hit for Swisher and stayed in the game, and now Todd Cunningham comes off the bench. Ball on the strike.
Well, it's interesting how many times in the National League the difference of the ball game that you can get some pinch hits. That pinch hit by Siriaco was his 40th pinch hit at bat this year. 40th.
Yeah, you pretty much assured you're going to get one or two at bats in every series. There's an extra player. There's a fly ball to center. No problem for Pilar. He waits on it. The inning is over. What a game for Marco Estrada. 8 innings, no runs on 3 hits. Blue Jays lead it 4-0. Marco Estrada, after the 8th inning, it's a visit from the manager, and John Gibbons probably explaining his thoughts. Hey, we need you down the stretch. You've pitched 8 strong innings. You've shut them out. We're going to pinch hit for you, and you get yourself ready for the next start.
That's exactly what he's saying. I might want to get somebody some work, and what a job by Marco Estrada tonight. 8 innings, just 3 little singles, a couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. So he is in line for the win. This is Sugar Ray Marimon. We saw him last night. Marimon threw an inning and a third. He gave up 2 hits, a couple of runs. He gave up big hits to Pilar, a double, and Revere, a double. So he will now be in for his 15th game of the season.
Pinch hitter is Ezequiel Carrera. He is pinch hitting here in the 9th. For Marco Estrada. Estrada had a good night at the plate. He was 1 for 3. Got a base hit in that 4th inning. Marco's next start will be Tuesday against the Yankees. He'll match up against Luis Severino. Estrada's in line for his 13th win. Marco Estrada, with 8 innings tonight, has reached the 160 mark. He has thrown 160 1/3 innings this season. That's the most he's ever had in a single season.
But you know what? We started talking about that a little bit earlier. A lot of those innings, they weren't stressful innings. They were quick innings, and the way he throws, he's not a max effort kind of guy. And changeup and curveball are very good secondary pitches.
Simmons makes a nice play on the short hop. Uses that strong arm to throw out Carrera.
So Marco Estrada's 160 innings are a lot different than a David Price's or a Matt Harvey's or somebody else's. Somebody else who throws hard.
Estrada for the season has averaged just over 16.5 pitches per inning. The major league average is 16 pitches an inning, so you're right. And it's not a max effort 100% fastball all the time. It's more of a finesse approach.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's the kind of guy you say, well, he's at 160 innings. Well, so what? He's not slowing down.
Ben Revere rips it right to the second baseman, Jace Peterson. 2 quick outs here in the 9th for Sugar Ray Motorman.
And Revere has had a very good road trip swinging the bat, but this time he's going to come up empty as he starts out of the box quickly and then right back to the dugout as he lines out to the second baseman.
Josh Donaldson hit a walk-off home run against Sugar Ray Moorman back at Rogers Center early in April. He had a 1-0 pitch out of the ballpark in the 10th inning for that walk-off homer. Three and 1 now to Donaldson. Josh has gone 0 for 4 tonight. A couple of strikeouts, a couple of groundouts. High fly ball deep to right. Markakis is on the run. Get up and gone. Josh Donaldson, an opposite field home run, his 9th opposite field home run of the season. Home run number 39. RBI 120 for the Blue Jays third baseman.
Boy, is that one going to feel good, I think, for Josh Donaldson. He was 0 for 4 before that at bat. He had a double in 5 plate appearances in last night's game, then 0 for 4 in the first game here. So the last swing, it looks like, on the road trip, that's going to feel good, and it's going to make his night, I think. He looked a little frustrated in a couple of his at-bats early on, a couple of strikeouts, but this one high and deep to right field. And we said this is a big man's ballpark, and he made it look small.
Boy, that was a good swing, and you make a great point. What a way to wind up a road trip. He had a bad night at the plate, going 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. He goes opposite field with his 39th home run.
And that's going to make him feel good.
You bet. Jose Bautista is 0 for 3 with a walk. Donaldson now with 120 runs batted in. And Bautista walks for the second time. Now the Blue Jays, it doesn't make any difference where they're playing. Big ballpark like Turner Field, Rogers Center, they hit anywhere they go. They've hit 3 home runs tonight. Edwin Encarnacion hit the first home run. That started the scoring in the 4th inning. For Edwin, that gave him 100 RBIs, and the Blue Jays have a trio of 30 homer, 100 RBI hitters in their lineup.
The last time that happened was 2006. That was the Chicago White Sox team. If you remember that team, Paul Konerko with 35 and 113. Jermaine Dye hit 44. He had 120. Jim Tomei at 42 and 109 RBIs. They also had a 4th player on that team, Buck, who hit 30 home runs and drove in 94. Talk about power. 236 home runs that season for the White Sox.
The Blue Jays, with 3 more home runs tonight, extend their lead in that department. They've now hit 207 home runs. And the Blue Jays have now scored 806 runs. Edwin reaches for it and drives it to right. Markakis is there. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays tack on a run in the top of the ninth. Josh Donaldson goes opposite field. His 39th home run of the night makes it a 5-0 game and gives Donaldson 120 RBIs for the season.
And 27, and the Blue Jays host the Rays, and it is Blue Jays Fan Appreciation Weekend presented by Allstate. Fun in-game activities, prizes to be won all weekend long. It should be a lot of fun. Buck?
It'll be a great weekend, that's for sure. And you can see it September 26th, 27th. The Rays are in town. The final 2 games of the homestand. Final regular season home games in the 2015 season. Blue Jays have had a big night. 5 runs on 10 hits. They pounded out 3 home runs. Marco Estrada is done after 8 sterling innings. And Roberto Osuna, we mentioned Osuna has not pitched since game 1 of the doubleheader on Saturday, so he needs some work.
You need some work, so you got to get him up and you got to get him in an inning. And here he is in the 9th inning for his 60th game of the season, a 202 earned run average. Roberto's also had 16 saves and 18 opportunities. Those 16 saves are 4th most by a Toronto rookie in club history. Billy Koch is the leader with 31 in 1999. So Osuna will get a chance to work. Other defensive changes for the Blue Jays.
Justin Smoke takes over for Edwin Encarnacion at first. Nick Markakis takes a strike from Osuna. It's Markakis, Oliveira, and Freeman, top of the order in the 9th. Osuna pours that fastball in there to Markakis.
If you're a hitter now with the Atlanta Braves after facing Marco Estrada all night, what does this fastball look like?
110?
110, and you can see Nick Markakis was a little tardy on that high fastball.
Ground ball. Donaldson wide of third makes a nice play. Well, 1 out now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed in a flashback. Thank you very much, Ken. That's all coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned and get all the highlights. Hector Olivera is late on that fastball as well. Marco Estrada, no runs on 3 hits through 8 innings, drops his ERA to 3.14. That moves him into 6th in the American League leaderboard.
Amazing. We were talking about that in the opening, what the pitchers have done in the second half of this baseball season. Marco came in here with a 192 average in the second half of the season. 3rd best in the American League, and an ERA of 3.03 since the All-Star break. And that's going to go down.
Off the end of the bat. Easy play for Osuna. 2 down. Well, the Blue Jays are in line to win this series in Atlanta and finish up their road trip 6-4. And you can credit this man right here, Marco Estrada. 8 strong innings, no runs on 3 hits. He walked 2 through 99 pitches. And for good measure, he threw in a base hit as well.
Little dumping single out into the outfield. A couple of walks, just 3 singles. 1 to the pitcher, 1 to Maben, and then 1 to Simmons in his last inning.
Boy, Osuna's doing just exactly what you want. Getting a little work in and throwing strikes. That's 7 pitches for Osuna. Popped up, shallow left field. Revere's got a room into the line and makes the catch. The ball game is over. Osuna does a terrific job. 3 up, 3 down on 9 pitches. He follows suit that was set by Marco Estrada, and the Blue Jays have gained a half game on the New York Yankees in the AL East.
And they did what they had to do. They had to come in here and they had to win that series after a tough battle with the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, taking 3 out of 4. They win another series by